Приветствую всех любителей интересного геймплея в очередной части прохождения игры под названием Диско Elysium. Я вспомнил, мы спать ложимся вроде когда 21:55, поехали. Посмотрим, ждут ли нас какие-то сны или что.
Across the room, the heating system hums its soft lullaby. The mattress feels soft and sheets warm. It only takes you moments for the world to fall away.
На новом месте, да, сладко спится?
Thoughts, baby. A million little lights in the dark. You're one fine instrument, brother. All those faces and all those names. All that laughter and screaming and scheming around. Every corner and every street. Recorded in you. Forever on ferrotape.
Я ничего не понял. Крутится, крутится, скажи, я сплю?
No, you're spinning tapes at the discotheque. The great unceasing disco of the mind. The flash, the bang. The endless learning experience.
На ферроленте. Не впустую.
On and on it goes, for untold hours. At the disco where you first asked her to dance. Rising, rising. Above the dark curvature, the great wingspan of sleep, studded with stars. Behold, there are millions of them down there. The first time, the last time, the smoke in her mouth, the plotted flowers, the faces turning, changing. It's the world, Harry boy, and you're made of it. Every day you're out there, you make more of yourself from it. I'm afraid you can't be unmade now. You can never forget this shit. All stuck on loop, whirling, spitting out words and images. You're the son of the world again, Harrister, a ceaseless agent, picking up litter and old newspapers, collecting your little bubblegum wrappers and idiotic picture postcards. Meaningless, meaningless keepsakes. Reading your awful letters and recalling things, aren't you? The endless names of the world. An address book you are. The map of a city. You'll go insane if you keep going like this. One more day and you'll be in the loony bin. I just know you will. And for what, brother man?
For the money, baby. For the greater good.
Solving your little crossword puzzles. Doing your tasks. Crossing names off lists. Trying to become some sort of world detector. It won't make it okay. It won't put smoke back in her mouth.
Продолжить развивать мысль. Экономическая мысль или медленно, но уверенно, непонятно, что за мысль. Ну, экономическую не хочу, поехали.
There he goes again.
He's a real political animal, our Harry. He still doesn't see that it's the world changing around him.
He's got no idea what he's in for.
'Cause only love can break your heart. Beep, beep, beep! The alarm is ringing, Harry! The disco circus goes on and on! You barely slept 3 hours last night!
Do it for the wind. Do it for the picture puzzle. Put it all together. Solve the world. One conversation at a time.
Так, это мысли, которые мы развили.
You're up. Listen, there's something that's been bothering you for a few days now. It's a suspicion, or a feeling really, that things are not quite in hand around here.
Эмпатия.
An earth-shattering deduction from your psyche. What will those guys come up with next? Every day, things seem to spin more and more wildly out of control. The center isn't holding. And despite your efforts to moderate and contain these energies, things only seem to be getting worse.
Погоди, мне казалось, все в целом неплохо. Давай сразу к сути, что надо делать. Но мне казалось, что все неплохо. Это не моя проблема, отбросить мысль.
Oh, sure. You've been making progress on your case, interviewing people, solving side tasks.
Сайт-таск.
But who's focusing on the big questions?
Ну, на ком стратегический вопрос? Что мне делать? Звучит как дело совсем не для меня. Я думал, ими занимаются наиболее квалифицированные в таких делах люди. На ком стратегический вопрос? Что за стратегический вопрос? Блин, вы знаете, что не хватает? Переиграть. Переиграть. Чтобы вот здесь вот было это... Речь переиграть.
You've got to find out who bears la responsabilité. Harry, you're thinking about this too narrowly. La responsabilité isn't concerned with trivial questions like who killed who. It's about the real issues, the human welfare index, the price of staple goods, the transition to real democracy.
Ну, кстати, слушайте, может прокнуть.
The most awesome, terrible thing.
Нет, не энциклопедия. Энциклопедия мне дает одну монетку.
It is human nature to crave la responsabilité and to deny it. That's why it must be distributed across many different organizations, agencies, offices, and portfolios. Whoa. This isn't some kind of dictatorship. You can't simply seize la responsabilité for yourself. It must be given by a legitimate authority, like a committee. There is always time to follow best practices. Once someone's decided to cut corners for the sake of expediency, who knows what else they're capable of? Swift, decisive action. Mass executions. Fun stuff. That's what they're capable of. Only the most even-keeled minds in Martinez. Your half-brother, the lieutenant, is a natural place to start. Together, you'll be able to discover who has la responsabilité in Revachol. And, if necessary, you'll have the wisdom and expertise to assign it among yourselves. Most likely, your findings will be collected in a report, which will be carefully reviewed by your superiors. Once they've reviewed it, those same superiors will produce a set of recommendations to be taken up at the next meeting of the Standing Committee. Rest assured, no matter what happens, it will be done through the proper channels. Good luck. Your report is eagerly anticipated.
Так, соберите комитет моралистов для распределения обязанностей. Возможно, Ким знает, с чего начать. Окей. А, это у нас что? Побриться? Фигня.
An old mirror hangs on the wall. You see your reflection in it. The expression fixed to your clean-shaven face. You're still not accustomed to it. It belongs in the new, the third decade of the current century. Enough time had passed from the failure of the revolution that, for a fleeting moment, free market economy seemed like the ultimate, uncontested way of life for our species. Things were good. It was smooth sailing. People made gold and champagne-tinted interiors and facades to suit the times, calling this the new style. But more importantly, disco happened. For Revachol, your city, that meant only one thing. Guillaume le Million. If it doesn't rhyme, you're not pronouncing it right. Out of the dazzling swirl of disco music, in an open-air boîte de nuit, somewhere in Revachol West, Guillaume's blonde mane appeared on the screen. He sang some bullshit. Then he made the expression. The click is used to spur on a horse. It also features heavily in Guillaume le Million's regional mega hit, Don't Worry, Your Pretty Little Head. Sometimes you like to add finger pistols to the mix, because unlike Guillaume le Million, you are a police officer. It's your nifty little way to say, I'm armed and dangerous. Everyone loved it. Maybe you thought some of the stardust would rub off on you. Maybe it did. Either way, it's all gone now. Only the grimace remains. There is a vast ocean of time between right now and the expression. Looking good on you, or anyone. 2 decades, if the calendar is to be trusted. Humanity has run aground in that time. It's a different world now. The expression is a relic. You have some understanding of the near history of disco, plus the trivia you've picked up along the way. Episodic memory, however, remains in the dark. It may never return. You should prepare yourself for that.
Так, вместо эпизодической памяти по-прежнему мрак. Может, она и вовсе не вернется. Новейшая история дикой музыки на всякие отрывочные факты. Окей.
It doesn't have to be. You can swoon over Guillaume and his champagne-corked smile whenever you want to. Maybe some of the stardust will return.
Так, электрохимия. Ну, давайте подкачаемся. Где? Вот. Понятно. Сколько у меня одежды всякой. А, тут тоже электрохимия, да? Эквилибристика, скорость реакции минус. Эквилибристика минус. Не, давайте скорость реакции оставим. Что за +1 к способам косвенного налогообложения? Ну, вроде готов. Можно еще, конечно, закинуть с чем-то.
An old mirror hangs on the wall. You see your
72%.
reflection in it. Still not happening. It won't come off that easy.
Ну окей. Надо снять теперь эту электрохимию, все нафиг. Так, восприятие, самообладание. Восприятие? Зачем мне восприятие? Смотрите, слушайте, нюхайте, не пустите ни единой детали. Окей. Самообладание. Концептуализация. Концептуализация. Нет, не надо. Логика плюс. Драма, нормальная тема. Драма и электрохимия. Логика. Не, логика давай. Королевство совести, электрохимия. О, электрохимия была. Но не другая электрохимия, ладно. Здесь вольна. О, визуальный анализ. Да, визуальный анализ оставим. Стойкость, трепет, волна. Внутренняя империя, болевой порог. На мне сейчас что? Драма. Эквилибристика, визуальный анализ. Апатия. Логика. Визуальный анализ минус драма. Ну, нормально. Где мои? Вот они, крутые, техника. Электрохимия нафиг, сумрак. Блин, все, конечно, перебрать надо, уже места не хватает на самом деле. Это ё-моё. О, нормально. Все, это все штаны. Офигеть. Курток очень много. Надо это еще один ряд, чтобы был пустой. Это да забей. Что у нас там? Коп апокалипсиса, риторика минус, бредня. Жамавю. Гийом минус логика. Голова в облаках. Ну, это временно. Потом, наверное, эту логику уберут, что-то добавят. Эмпатия плюс, электрохимия минус. Может перерасти, я поэтому ее не убираю. Вот это можно убрать, кстати. Одну логику себе закинул. Поехали. Так, что там на карте? Штанга. Грубая сила. И все. Поехали. Всем приятного просмотра. Лайки прожмите, подпишитесь. А где? А, вон он. Припаркованный.
Yes. I'm glad to hear it, Detective. I was wondering when we'd get to this very subject. If you ask me, it's high time for you to put the bottle away. Sober up, get back to basics. That would be my advice. And I hope we don't even need to discuss the street drugs you've been abusing.
Я их только ради бонусов курю. Я не могу сейчас отказаться от наркотиков, я только-только на них подсел.
Why are you pronouncing it like that gentleman from the Institute of Price Stability? You know what? Forget it. What specifically are you trying to assign responsibility for? Ah, now I understand. Next, I suppose you're going to tell me you need to form a committee to assign this responsibility? Fascinating. And here I believed your recent turn towards moralism was just an act. In any event, I am just a humble law official. I may work under the moral intern's umbrella, but I'm certainly not qualified to serve on any committee. You know who might be, though? That Mr. Villodroit, the gentleman you met in the young man's apartment.
Как мне его еще раз
If I
найти?
were trying to get in touch with the coalition, I would start by seeking him out. But first you might need to speak with his young companion. Now, was there anything else?
Не. Так, давайте побегаем по этой части побережья. Орет, орет.
Waves are beginning to die
здесь.
down. Look at those little bastards. Simmer down. Simmer down, bastards. Oh, that's good to know, I guess. Why is it in the sea? This calls for a funeral, if you ask me.
Память острова.
Aye. Feels deserved, don't you think? Falling in the line of duty like that and all? Why odd? Our things are a part of our life world. They're made with our human sweat and they share human history. We should care about them as we care about humans. To some extent, at least.
Life world. Someone's been reading up on last century Gottwaldian philosophers. Play it cool now.
Oh yeah? You won't even be able to get it out of the water before early June. And where are you going to bury it? Who to invite? What music to play at the wake? Take it from someone who's been through a few funerals. It's easiest to just leave them there and let nature take care of it.
That's all we have time for right now anyway. Come back here in June and see how you feel about it then. It's not like it's going anywhere.
Absolutely. Things like what, for example?
Че, крутанем? Или ну его нафиг? Я не помню, разблокируется ли оно, когда я найду новое место. Давай, не,
Waves are
крутанем.
beginning to die down.
Oh yes, she does. You need to get your drink on. There is no other way for human beings to procreate. Not after 6,000 years of yeast cultivation-based mating rituals.
What?
Пьяное свидание.
Funny. Funny sailor jokes. Sorry if I'm not laughing out loud, but the comedy has worn thin over the years.
Great. Now you reminded her of the husband. It's okay. She just hasn't figured out how these things work between the sexes. Keep at it. She'll come around.
Like I said, fish mostly. Sail the waves, take care of the kids, pick nets. Right now I'm tarring a little skiff. I sell the fish to people in the Delta to serve at their fancy restaurants. Authentic insular Indian cuisine. Sometimes I also walk to the beach to see what the sea has given up. The sea is full of surprises. Wood, pieces of glass. Every once in a while we see dead bodies. Human, animal, fish, other odd sea creatures. A mine washed ashore once. Bottles, drugs also. Lost cargo in general. Most of the time it's just wood and glass.
Странно, что здесь не красное.
All right.
А, вот
Major
она
choice
красная.
moment. You only get to ask one thing. It would be weird to say them all. Choose wisely. Mines. Mines. You need mines.
Наркотики.
Well, you're barking under the wrong tree then, officer. I have no interest in floaters. Seen enough of them in my life already. Very unattractive bunch.
Все окей. Так, а что это? А, я прям отсюда это открыл. Ух ты. Как интересно. Блин, мужиков нет, ё-моё. Вчера я с ними не поговорил. Сегодня их уже нет. Они, наверное, в другом месте где-то сидят. Пойдем поищем. Что-то не помню, что здесь. А, здесь девчонка сидит. Ну, пойдем зайдем.
Hello, mister. Yes. They don't want to play with me. They're older and play outside. They look the same. Sometimes I can't tell them apart. They look identical. Bye!
Так, а тут у нас что? Вам нужно найти воскресного друга. Возможно, курильщик на балконе знает, где он. Интересно, кстати, что там сейчас в танцах? Тихо. Маленькая черная ласточка кружит над тобой. Слышно, как она щебечет. Это Ноланд Бесценен, неудачная модель. Так, а тут ничего не изменилось, да? Ну окей, пойдем пообщаемся с айтишницей. Может, удастся ее того самого уговорить. Так, тихо. Адрес, который искал ведущий программист. Fortress Accident. А, я бегаю, блин, в храме.
Yes, what is it?
Должны делать то, что я говорю. А что, если вам не нужно будет отсюда уходить? Я пообщался с Андреем, и он хочет договориться.
I don't want to make anything work. Yes, anything. I don't want to make anything work.
It's not the anodic dance music that's made her bitter. It's the failure of Fortress Accident.
That's right. If we couldn't get our Welkins to happen, I don't want anything to happen. Ever again.
С фейльбами я вообще не хочу реализации никаких проектов. Никогда.
There's not a trace of irony in her voice. She means it.
Внушение. -1 текущая, десятка нужна. 7 надо выкинуть. Так, подготовимся. Внушение. У меня тут есть... Куча одежды, блин. На всякий случай жизни. Не, ну не настолько хорошо все. Так, подожди. Что у меня еще есть? Кто тут дает? 30 минус. Блин, а мне тут напишут, есть ли у меня какие-то минусы. А, я могу вот сюда зайти. Где это внушение? Бонус от мысли -2. Мне, может, какая-то одежда дает минус, а другая одежда дает плюс. И оно здесь не появляется. Где внушение? Здесь его вообще нет. Вот внушение минус. Снимаю шляпу.
What is it?
Easy. When her research is done, she can move out.
What? No, I don't really need any help with the project.
She thinks about it. A glassy look in her eyes. A gust of wind brings more snow in from the broken gallery.
All right. Bring me the game's offside copy from my old workspace, if you really want to help. It's stored on a filament memory, and I'm unable to go and fetch it myself. No, that's the production schedule you stole and accessed without authorization. I don't need it.
In his defense, it was simply lying in the desk drawer of an abandoned cubicle.
Okay, but still. It's a backup of my former employer's project, the radio game we were working on. It's stored on a filament memory, just like the one inside this radio computer.
She's making it extra simple for you.
The backup itself is destroyed now, but I'm hoping to use what's left of it to pinpoint the exact location of the anomaly. You just have to go to my old workspace and get the filament. Yeah, that's the one. You can get in through the bookshop. You just have to do some explaining to the bookstore lady. That's her name, I believe. Good. Then you might know the giant ice bear fridge in the building's cellar. The filament is inside the fridge. Just go and get it.
В холодильнике. В холодильнике мы, по-моему, ничего не находили, да?
In the giant ice bear fridge. I just told you. It has red glowing eyes. It's impossible to miss. You just need to get the offside copy from the ice bear. The bookstore lady hates me. Says I'm part of the curse, whatever that means. Because she's from Martinez, and people from Martinez have never ever seen a radio computer. She thinks it emits elemental evil. It doesn't emit, it receives. You sound just like her. She started praying when she first saw my rain. Turned to higher powers.
The lieutenant coughs like he's amused.
Once I came in one morning, only to find that my terminal was full of those strange trinkets and amulets. Wards. It looked like some Semenine tanks. And here's my Kvalsund multi-tool. You might need it to hack loose some ice. It opens everything. If you get me the offside copy, then you can keep the Kvalsund.
It hurts a bit for her to say this. She's not too happy to be parting with the Kvalsund.
Инструменты. Я люблю открывать запертые контейнеры, поместить этот предмет в активный инвентарь. Чтобы открывать запертые контейнеры. В чем прикол? Это продвинутая монтировка. На +2, так сказать. Изготовитель Квалсунд. Спрятанных в оранжево-сером корпусе этого универсального инструмента поразит любого технаря. В чем прикол? Ладно. Пускай будет. Вилки есть? Ладно, давайте бегать уже по храму. Может, чем-то нам и обернется, а может быть и нет. Догадаться, почему иногда разговор по телефону — это просто кошмар. Это, наверное, к нашему пранку как-то относится. О-о-о. Я уже думал, тут ничего не будет.
Someone has left an unidentifiable article of clothing on this railing. It smells really bad. The cloth, if you can still call it that, makes a soft crunching sound as you thrust your finger into it. It's streaked with dried seagull shit and tangled with pieces of seaweed. A dangling arm suggests that there might be a jacket beneath the crust of filth. It seems likely that it was left in the surf until someone laid it out on this fence to dry out. Unfortunately, that just seems to have stiffened it into a shapeless mass.
Please tell me you're not taking that with you. It's a guano-encrusted jacket, and you're already carrying around enough as it is.
Да, с собой реально дофига вещей. А, нет, я хочу ее забрать. Вот. Грязная куртка, ее изучать еще надо. Ну, пара бутылей. Может, сюда каждый день будут выкидываться? Что-то... О, очечи. Энциклопедия плюс. Восприятие минус. Мегаботан. Похоже, недавно какие-то бродяги покрасили этот брезент красным, с него капает вода. Что так музон орёт? Только у меня? Да, это только у меня. Платные весы, ими уже лет 10 никто не пользовался. Так, давай. Подожди, ладно. Фига у меня там в руках что? Открытка. Чё мне там? Вот эта штука мне не особо важна. Давай так. Импровизированный навес. Бродяги пытались обустроить пирс, чтобы жить здесь. Этот брезент не спасает ни от дождя, ни от снега, ни от ветра. Ну, 73 дофига. Большая канистра из-под вина, открытая и пустая.
The smell. It's awful and familiar. It doesn't help. You can still smell it. Keep it in now. Don't overreact. Breathe. Don't be naive. Don't you recognize it? That hideous pungency, that faintly cloying sweetness. Only death smells like that. Something cold wakes in the pit of your stomach. Fear. It is death. It must be. The lieutenant has already brought a handkerchief to his nose.
Это труп? Осторожно, доски выглядят прогнившими и ненадежными. Может, тут не стоит бегать тоже?
There's some tear, an empty cigarette package, and a crumpled kebab wrapper in the trash bin. 2 empty bottles of Tallulah vodka and a can of black potent porter is all you find. No, there's more in there. Livis strawberry liquor, plus some Pilsner bottles too. Better not.
A tragedy.
Whoever tossed it here was a heavy smoker. The brand name reads Red Astra. Red Astra is the black market version of Astra cigarettes, known for their high tar content. You see traces of mayonnaise and ketchup on it, as well as a tomato wedge. The wrapper reads, shish kebab revachol. It's no older than a day or two. No mold yet. It's hard to concentrate in the smell. The sea air brings some relief.
Далеко внизу тебя ждет только смерть, метров 20, не меньше. Этот платный бинокль не работает уже много лет. Отстань уже от бинокля, лучше держись покрепче, ветер такой сильный. Ну шо ж, сказать-то остался только мужчина.
A man lies on the boardwalk, his limbs bent and neck turned at an unnatural angle. Right next to him is an empty bottle of spirits. In his cramped hand, a chewing gum wrapper. Half of his body has slipped between the cracked boardwalk, starting with the right leg. The fall has left him broken, contorted like a sad puppet.
Его левая нога вот. Провалилась между досок настила. Ну, вообще правая нога, ладно. А за ней вся нижняя часть тела, которая сложилась, будто жалкая тряпичная кукла.
The smell is not as bad as a 2-week-old corpse, but it's definitely heading there.
Hold on. Lividity is faintly pronounced. Whoever this is has been dead for 2 days. No longer. We need to investigate.
Another dead body. This is your job. Steel yourself. Calm now. Carefully. Just another day. Just another dead body. Breathe. He's wearing mud-caked boots, beige trousers, and an old brown leather jacket with a bright blue lining. There are traces of kebab sauce on his chest.
Соус для шаурмы.
You find some sunflower seeds and a rain-soaked library card folded into two. His jacket feels sodden and heavy under your hand.
Good. We should take a look at that library card after this is done.
The man has fallen through a crack in the boardwalk and hit his head against the metal bench. Coagulated blood covers his black hair. One of his feet is still dangling through the hole. You have to be quite inebriated to fall that bad. Well over a liter of pure ethanol. 3 bottles of wine or 1.5 of spirits. Or maybe it was just dark. His expression is dull, like the sea behind him. Drops of water shining on his mustache. His eyes, empty and wide, look frightening in their frozen gaze.
Бля. Лицо выглядит хмурым, как море за его спиной. Там океан, залив или море? Что там у него вообще за спиной?
Height 170 to 175 centimeters. Curly hair, stout build, age approximately 50 to 60 years. There's some dried blood on the metal bench, right where the corpse's head rests. The floorboards are rotten and slippery wet around the hole. An empty bottle lies nearby. A chewing gum wrapper is clutched in his fist. A dried chunk of blood covers the hair at the back of his head. An open wound. It's sticky and cold to your touch. This is what killed him.
I don't see any other major wounds, do you? Seems like the head wound was fatal. It's exactly the shape of the bench.
They screech under your feet ominously. It's hard to say whether the dead man's weight was the cause of the boardwalk to break. It definitely looks fragile. You see waves churning below. Something cracks beneath your feet. He could have easily disappeared into the sea through that hole, and you would have never found him. A .75 liter Tallulah vodka with its cap missing. There's hardly anything left inside. It's mid-market spirits with a slight touch of menthol. The man meant to enjoy himself, have a good time.
Tear all around us.
Взгляд его останавливается на 2 других бутылках, забытых кем-то возле платного бинокля, а потом на твоем желтом пакете.
I'd prefer if you didn't collect them this time. It's not proper.
Там были бутылки?
Grabowski spearmint chewing gum. Green leaves on the cover. The man's mouth is half agape from the terror of the fall. The blackness of death. Stench. You think you see white chewing gum too. Confirmed. Nearly the whole pack is there. Solidified on his lower rear teeth.
He ate the whole pack, right? It's to cover the smell of alcohol before going home. The worst thing is, I've seen it before. Almost the same scenario, even the chewing gum. It's always the same.
The entire boardwalk creaks in the wind.
Looks like one of the locals. He'd have to know this spot to come here. You don't just walk over here. But that's just a lazy assumption. What do you think?
At least this man knew how to party. Imagine the same scene without the bottle. Now that would be just sad.
Целовать кончики пальцев.
We do know that he was married.
Ким указывает на кольцо левой руки мертвеца, врезавшись в сероватую распухшую плоть.
But you're right. Let's not run ahead. For now, all we know is that he's an unidentified middle-aged man found dead on the Martinez boardwalk. Death by misadventure. He slipped and fell through the boardwalk. A truly unfortunate accident. If it wouldn't have been for that bench, he'd be alive. They'll seal this place off after the news reaches the coalition officials. I doubt that they have enough resources to actually repair the boardwalk. Not that sealing it off would keep anyone away. No, I don't see anything that points in that direction. For now, let's treat this case as a simple, albeit sad, accident, unrelated to the murder case.
Yes, but what if there's a killer on the loose? 2 suspicious deaths in such a short time frame.
Блин, сейчас мысль какая-то выскочит.
A sequence killer? There's nothing that connects those 2 bodies. This is a completely different case. An accident. Yes, but I just wanted to make it clear it's not a sequence killer, okay?
Я думаю, что он был пьян. Я думаю, что он был
It
пьян.
does seem to be a pretty straightforward misadventure, although there's still a question of identifying the body. From where I stand, I can see 2 options. We either take the case and follow the leads to identify the body on our own, or we report back to the station and leave this for our colleagues to handle. A field autopsy isn't necessary if the cause of death doesn't appear to be criminal, and this looks like a simple accident to me. I'd say we should just write down head trauma in the autopsy report and leave it at that. It would save us at least 2 hours of unnecessary work. Good call. The guys at processing can take care of the rest. Alright, we should first examine the library card you found. Then we can call the station from my kinema. Let them know we are taking the case.
Окей. Валим отсюда. Да ё-моё. Вероятно, самогон. Приятный аромат брожения. Да тут воняет вроде трупом. Мы же уже выяснили это. Так, пойдем на побережье выйдем. Что-то там, может, для свиданки местечко какое-нибудь найду. Ну, неплохое место. Да пушка, да? А, может и нет. Эти ржавые шестерни когда-то приводили в движение весь механизм. Что это такое? В этом здании когда-то располагался двигатель, должно быть очень большой. Вон, цепь какая-то. Цепь тянется куда-то в океан, кто знает куда. Эту бочку выбросили недавно, все еще пахнет мазутом.
An old door, worn by elements, guards the depot. The wind has blown a sand dune in front of it. The door hasn't been opened in a long while. You see...
It's military, a service depot of some sort. The washerwoman mentioned a depot up the coast. She said it was for moving ammo and cargo across the bay. This might be it.
It may have been used to serve as an aerostatic battleship in the atmosphere, or a fortification, like a sea fort in the bay.
4 у меня, надо 20, 16 надо выкинуть. Что там, техника, да, вроде? Техника, давайте еще раз. Техника, да. Техника +2. Ну, у меня самые лучшие перчатки, да? Ага. Ну, тогда не будем заморачиваться. Просто крутанем.
Worn by elements. You rattle the handle a bit, then push on the door with all your weight.
We don't get in there. Frankly, you're just going to have to accept the fact that you can't get in through every single door.
No. We've gotten into every door thus far. That's what we do. We open doors. We're cops. That's our perk. Even Everard knew that's a part of our MO.
Да ладно, первую самую дверь мы не открыли, соседка. Это моя суть, наша суть. Отношение к делу, блин. Нет, смиряться не хочу.
Yeah, I understand you. I like opening doors as much as the next guy. But this one is simply beyond repair and we don't have the resources needed to open it. Relax, no one's hiding in there. If we can't open it, others can't either. And thus they can't get in.
Значит, не можешь попасть внутрь. Окей, но это мне нравится. Раз мы не можем ее открыть, то никто не может.
At least you can think about opening it. About doors in general. They are, after all, fundamental to your life. Perhaps something useful would come from this.
It's military. The washerwoman...
It may have been...
Блин, я больше не смогу ее открыть. Еще одна дверь. Сумрак +1. Что же за ней? Так, это я хочу исследовать. Внутри империи скучно, но надежно. Лимит улучшения всех навыков повышается. Так. Противопредметный... О, то есть противопредметный я хочу оставить. Болевой порог. Физиология, лимит всех навыков повышается на 1. Нападение на физический объект компенсирует урон. Вот это мне нравится. Косвенное налогообложение тоже. Это прям моя любимая. -2 внушения. Пассивные проверки. Энциклопедии дают... А, нет, вот это моя любимая. А что такое косвенное налогообложение? А, вот это можно выкинуть нафиг. Настоящее художественное образование. Минус координация. Пассивная проверка, концептуализация. А, концептуализация дает. Риторика минус, все равно странная челюсть. Бонус от мысли координации. Лимит улучшения повышается. Успешные пассивные проверки, координация. Ставим белый траур. Моторик, лимит всех навыков повышается. А, отдаление камеры. Бонус от мысли, белый траур. Давайте это забудем. Еще одна дверь. Поехали. Сколько у меня очков? Последнее было. Очки капец как нужны в этой игре. Помогите рейверам открыть ночной клуб. Прежде чем рейверы смогут занять церковь, вы обещали Соне помочь с ее проектом. Окей, сделаем. Помогите Соне с проектом. Труп на пирсе. Это мы тоже все сделаем, а пока двигаемся дальше. Белая рубашка пола, риторика, эмпатия. Плюс-минус денежки какие-то залетели. Так, вот максимальное мое отдаление, теперь чаечка. А, там трубочка у нас, тут не пройти, да? Ничего, не бутылок, ничего вообще. Сигаретные бычки и заметенный под камень марка Тимутири. Тимутири, как-то так, короче. Кто-то ждет костер давно. Жёг. Ржавый сломанный пульт управления радиовышкой. Радиовышка. Эта лестница слишком ржавая, чтобы забираться по ней. Она вся разъедена морским ветром. Эта радиовышка управляет движением судов в заливе с трудом. Галстук. Надушенный шарф. Трепет плюс. Грубая сила 2 минус. Это фигня какая-то. Там вдалеке, куда уходят эти столбики, видны небольшие островки. Ну да, вот они. Ближе. Можно подойти. Да, где моя 20-ка на камеру? Ладно, ничего, так справлюсь. Блин, ни одного бутыльга. Капец. Ну, холодно на улице сейчас, конечно, выпивать. Жалко, что эту дверь не смогу больше приоткрыть. Не ожидал я до такого поворота. Здесь не пройти. Пошли, совсем чуть-чуть осталось до края карты. Блин, странно, что здесь так пусто, конечно. Туда можно зайти как-то.
The remaining windows rattle from a strong gust of wind. They're covered in a thick layer of grime. They must have been like this for 40 years. Dripping water falls from a high place. All you can see is the shadow of a collapsing staircase. There's rust and corrosion on the bars. They're foaming with it. And a small layer of white salt from the sea.
No, I won't even try. You know, I had a partner once. They called him Eyes, because he had to show me things. It's that bad. Well enough, actually. It's odd how that works. I'm no sharpshooter, but I passed my shooting courses 7 out of 10.
His hands lead the way when it comes to that. And his shoulders. It's reflex.
И все?
You see a once bright mural towering above you. The signage has peeled off over the years, but a slogan used to intertwine with the loops along.
Looks like tomorrow never came.
В смысле? Это оно А, подожди, витражное окно. Это не оно. Это в церкви. Витражное окно. Рене Арну. Аннет Джойс. Трина с безделушками. Что-то там украсть можно? Створка грузового контейнера на риторике. Томми Ли на эмпатии. Дверь на висячем замке. Это я, наверное, уже никогда не открою. Техника средняя, нифига себе средняя. Игральные кости, трепет, курильщик на балконе, самообладание легендарное. Это тоже не будет. Вроде бы. А может и будет. Сель, зеркало. Ну, зеркало можно и здесь. Где? Где-то здесь. Титхарли, авторитет. Стена на заднем дворе. Стена на заднем дворе. Концептуализация. Окно кафетерия. Карта на стене. Тоже никогда больше не будет. Лильен, рыбачка, внушение. Я обыскал все, наверное, можно пройти. Дверь в церковь, группа тоже никогда уже не будет. Джойс, концептуализация. Не помню такого. Так, предметы. Карточка, взаимодействие, читательский билет, куртка. Может, куртка какая-то крутая, кстати. Тут я не пройду, да? Блин. Зоолог. Курочные клетки аккуратно собранные.
Here we go. Nice and easy. No way out, little guys. Not out.
There's a cylinder on the ground in which the man is arranging some netting. It looks like some kind of trap. He notices you.
Вот второй я только сейчас увидел.
Who's there? Oh, the police. Hello, officers.
Is that the police? Why are the police here?
Don't worry, Gary. I'll handle it. To what do I owe the pleasure? Of course. Thank you for passing along the message. That damn water lock is broken, and we can't go all the way around the 881.
Это я сломал шлюз мотокареты. Но теперь его починили, шлюз починили. Когда я по нему переходил, там все было в порядке. Не рассказывай всю историю. Надо ли рассказывать? Давайте расскажу. Покаюсь, так сказать.
You broke the water lock with a motor carriage, but there was a billboard in the canal. Not a vehicle. It said Samaran Butter. Why? Scientist. Yes, okay. But you said the water lock is fixed now, so we can go back.
Did he say we can go back now?
Yes, Gary. We can go soon. If you see Lena, tell her I won't be long.
Sir, your wife is waiting for you.
I just have to do one more round. See if the phasmid has taken the bait. Then we're going.
For all his passion, this man is diligent and patient. You could learn things from him.
Well, first of all, it's damn difficult to find, which is why we've been knee-deep in the reeds laying traps for it. Good question. Being a phasmid of the order Phantasmodea, a ghost insect, it disguises itself as plant matter. In this case, the reeds. Awful lot of reeds around, aren't there? And I suspect it may have also developed other specialised techniques to protect itself from predators, or scientists, in our present case. It's my hypothesis that it has evolved certain electrochemical defences that allow it to interfere with animal perception, impeding pattern recognition, confusing the visual cortex.
Электрохимическое мне уже не нравится. Сейчас может что-то сработать.
But I cannot describe how these defences work, much less how they evolved, without studying a live specimen. I'm expecting it to be quite giant. One known species of phasmid, called the Megaphasmodea zoensis, is about the size of a grown man's forearm. So,
Вон он, по-моему, это электрохимия.
Seems puny, to be honest.
Что-то щупленькое, ладно, не электрохимия.
typical rookie assumption. Insects are much more sophisticated creatures than those unversed in zoology give them credit for. Even simply catching a glimpse of the Insulindian phasmid would be the apex of any cryptozoologist's career. But to study it and its defenses, find out how it stayed hidden so long,
would be glory itself.
very little, I'm sorry to say. No one's ever captured a specimen, so all our information is based on first and third-hand accounts. Not yet. That's what makes it a cryptid.
Just out of curiosity, if there's no proof of its existence, how do you know it's real?
I know it's real. By which I mean, I've heard enough first-hand accounts to believe quite firmly that the Insulindian phasmid is more than mere superstition. Yes, the most recent sighting was by a couple of teenagers along the coast here. That's what brought us to Martinez specifically. It's the first credible sighting in several decades. Admittedly, it's an unusual location for this species, but with all the sewage runoff upstream, it probably doesn't matter much anymore. I have to resist the thought such an extraordinary creature is doubtlessly highly resilient. After all, it's generally thought to be capable of parthenogenesis.
He means asexual reproduction. The females of the species don't need to mate to produce viable eggs. This makes it easier for a species with a small population to survive.
Смотрите, 2 получено. Реальчика.
Yes, the Insulindian phasmid is a very clever insect. That's why it's so damn difficult to catch. But as a scientist, I'll try my best to remain dispassionate. Well, they may not look impressive, but Lena designed them quite cleverly, so I'm sure they'll do the trick. Yes. Simple. Attracted by the locusts, the phasmid crawls down the funnel and, having eaten its fill, can get back out. At least, that's the intention. The net isn't a perfect solution, but we didn't want to use anything that might damage the specimen's delicate exoskeleton. Locusts. Nearly all known phasmids are herbivores, of course, but we've hypothesized that the Insulindian phasmid might occasionally prey on other insects.
Ну, закиньте туда траву.
Inside the traps, a number of locusts crawl and tumble over one another in a tiny, chittering swarm.
Саранча сожрет, да, всю траву?
A meat-eating stick insect? Does it pretend to be the reeds as part of its ambush behavior? This seems unlikely.
Thank you for your opinion. We have also included plant material in the traps to satiate your skepticism. They'll work, I assure you. The predatory hypothesis, using locusts as bait, accounts for the failure of previous efforts by other teams, which use plants. We have given this some thought.
The traps do seem to be deftly and thoughtfully constructed. It's clear the cryptozoologist's wife knows what she's doing.
Yes. What? And I'm eager to return to her, I assure you. But I can't leave before we've finished with these traps. My wife understands that just as well as anyone.
Come on, Morale. We've been soaking out here for days. It's time to go back.
And leave the traps? Absolutely not. I won't let Lena down.
Come on, she wants us back. I'm soaked up to my nuts over here. We'll both catch reed crabs if we don't dry out soon.
Of course it's important to her. She's seen it. A verified sighting, on record. One of only 4 this century, and it's hers. Yes, that's how we first came to know one another, in fact. But that's her story to tell, not mine. Suffice to say, it's long been our dream to find proof of the Insulindian phasmid together. I can't abandon course now.
His spirit may be willing, but his body might be too old to endure the rigors of the coast.
No. The traps need to be monitored on a regular schedule. What would we do if the phasmid were to starve while we were sipping tea at the hostel?
Когда ты найдешь его труп, уже будет, дофига.
He's dead set on this.
Ну что, умрет здесь, что ли?
I could go for some trap setting.
I didn't expect you to take such an interest in our work here, officer.
Я его чадо.
Yes, indeed. Both require a great deal of research, attention to detail, and, above all, persistence. Bring it to me at once. Just make sure the trap is closed tight.
He's not comfortable with the possibility that you'll claim the find, but he's lying about this even to himself.
There are 4 in total. One is to the south, on this little peninsula, by the boathouses there. It's very near. Another we set in Land's End, to the northeast. It's behind a small sand dune there, on your way to the old radio tower, after the church. The third is set near the canal, where you crossed, by a concrete slab. A big thicket of reeds going up the slope, and among them... You should check at least one of those before returning to this one, since I just said it. This one's more of a technicality, but still, better safe and stupid than sorry.
That seems like a lot. Do we really have time for this extracurricular venture? Even relative to examining a week-old corpse, I'm not sure mucking about in the reeds qualifies as fun. But have it your way, detective.
That's highly unlikely, officer. But in the event you do, I'll spray you with a pheromone mixture I developed. It's made of musk and research chemicals. The pheromone should attract the insect to you, or at least prevent it from bolting at the sight of you. It's quite potent. Will last you about a week.
This is the smell of dying reeds, of longing crumbling into the water.
I hope you're not buying this. It dispenses it without letting you touch the canister, so it would be precious like holy water.
It is precious. A single dose cost me 50 real to develop. Not that I expect you to understand self-financing one's own research.
Right, which means you two can pack up and go back to the whirling.
Finally, someone's talking sense.
Thank you for your help. Gary and I will start breaking down camp. If you have any more questions, now's the time to ask. We'll be gone once you get to it.
If it's more cryptid-related business you want to discuss, you'll have time for that later too.
I've just always liked animals and puzzles. Searching for cryptids is a bit of both. It's not child's play, just because I have to traipse through the mud every so often. Real. I know you think one is a respectable profession, while the other is superstition. Everyone does. My methods do not differ from other scientists. I simply draw upon a wider variety of evidence. And I have more hope that something truly surprising might happen.
Your nerve endings tell you there is no such thing as a positive surprise.
No, as I said, I have yet to catch a cryptid. Although I have come close. Close enough to keep trying. Everything from forgotten regional lore to newspaper accounts, like the one that brought us here, to look for the Phasmid. I keep a very open mind.
He's interested in things that people believe that scientists don't.
Most establishment scientists only care about reputation and remuneration, not real research, and certainly not the truth. They're a cowardly lot, and both the field and basement archives can be dangerous places. No, very few cryptids are ever discovered, and not for a lack of trying. To stay hidden is a cryptid's primary quality. It's even in the name. Cryptid. Of the list of cryptids kept by the Cryptozoological Society of Chemney, which is 4,082 items long, about 2,000 have been confirmed as hoaxes. 2 are categorized as confirmed discoveries. The rest are in differing stages of discovery, refutation, and data collection. Yes. The Chateau Quan forest pygmy, who turned out to be an extinct species of primate, and a cave salamander from Yugograd, who is, honestly, quite unremarkable. It's in a zoo somewhere. We cryptozoologists are brutally honest with ourselves, more so even than the public. With cryptids, most cryptids are hoaxes or they are never found. That does not mean we should stop searching.
Это не значит, что не нужно искать. Ну да, не останавливаться. 24 тысячи это даже не процент.
Indeed. If our expedition is successful, every paper in the world will report on it. From Revachol to Dushantu. It will be a zoological miracle.
The hair on your arms stand up. Electricity. Sounds like reeds hissing. He has clearly done his math on this. There is no surprising him or swaying his opinion.
Yes?
Блин, как
All right.
приятно.
What cryptids precisely? I usually discuss these things with specialists, so I don't know what.
Причем какую-то ерунду занимается, честно говоря. Но я не хочу его переубеждать. Пускай занимается.
We would have to discuss. He wants to say, but decides against it, since you've offered to help.
A willow person. It's a long story. One non-specialist would find rather dull.
Willow people?
Да,
Not
блин.
at all.
Honestly,
Да не, пойдем.
I doubt you by all means.
Спасибо. Это ловушка. Размокшие поленья пахнут жидкостью для розжига, однако все равно отказываются гореть. Блин, что с этим можно поговорить?
Hello, I'm Gary. Very generous of you to help us out, officer. Yellow man. I mean, officer.
The lieutenant raises his eyebrows slightly and takes out his notebook. Yellow man. Interesting. This is something to ask him about, after a little probing first.
I'm just waiting for my friend Morel to finish up with his insect traps so we can return to civilization. I like nature, just not this bloody coast. It's mostly drunks and degenerates that come here.
Вырожденцы.
Degenerates. This man respects authority too much. To see the truth inscribed upon thine own visage. Pretend thou art a paragon of virtue.
Oh, I've been tempted. But someone has to stay strong for Revocall.
Рева Коля. Рева Шоля.
He pronounces Revocall with a hard K, unlike other people.
I like to pronounce it the hard way. The old way. The Vespertine way.
Опа, энциклопедия.
It's a secret rite.
А,
A very
концептуализация.
fringe nationalist handshake, probably.
Oh, so that's what the RCM in Martinez is about. Great. Great to hear someone's finally taking care of that.
So you do know something about it?
No. Nothing. He was some kind of mercenary. But everyone here knows that. I'm just glad to hear you're looking into it. That's all.
Это не все знают.
He didn't kill him or anything, but there's something going on here.
My mug? Why would you think that? Really? I hear it all the time. All in jest, of course. No offense meant to anyone. Okay, I admit it. I threw the mug away in the trash container behind the hostel. I know I shouldn't have, and I am very sorry, officer.
Так это вообще непростой человек перед нами сейчас.
You're not going to find me, are you?
На 20 реалов. На 100 реалов. Еще как.
Whew. Thank you. You won't regret this. I won't use another man's property to dump my garbage ever again.
Ну, вообще можно было, конечно, маленький срубить с него, но я боялся, что это закроет остальные выборы.
I don't know what got into me, really. Work has been stressful lately. Damn Koiko's price dumping us out of competition.
Гойка.
What did you do, Gary?
Nothing. Just answering some questions. Helping out the law.
Here we go. Start pumping that sweet info.
Officer, please. Let me explain. It's not like that. I was only cleaning up. I live right across the yard from where he was hanged, and I saw him stripped naked. All the clothes lying around in the yard, smelling. People are animals, you know? Then I came out to clean up the rags because no one else would. I put them into the whirling's trash, along with a broken mug, admittedly.
Как ты открыл?
Okay. I was coming to throw the mug away, and, well, I threw the mug there and the clothes too.
Right. It was just civic duty.
Exactly. That's exactly what it was. Civic duty. I know a guy who works with the trash collection services, CS Municipal. He gave me a master key for the trash containers of Martinez, so I can use the Whirling's trash compactor to store my own stuff. Garbage disposal is expensive as hell. The damn Chimeans run it like a mob. I'm sorry, okay? I thought I could cut costs. I shouldn't have. I shouldn't have disgraced myself.
Disgraced? No need for the histrionic, sir. It was, after all, just a trash container.
He studies his reaction. Gary doesn't answer.
Armor? No. I mean, yes. Of course. I know he was wearing armor, but I don't know anything about it.
An infant could see he's not telling the truth, but he's too scared to admit more wrongdoing.
I hope I could help your investigation, in my small way.
Don't be so relieved yet, Gary. This bad cop may have been in your apartment, admiring your mug collection. Perhaps a little intimidation?
No. I help Morel with research sometimes, and I've learned some things along the way, but I don't usually go in for picnics like this on my own. Sure do, officer.
His eyes narrow slightly. He's wondering where this is going.
Чтобы ты обнаружил дверь открытой.
How? But why were you in my apartment, officer? So you work for Everard Clare? Officer, please tell him we're good. No, tell him I'll make it up to him.
Я ему компенсирую.
What have I done? He'll send the muscle after me. What could it be about? I probably talked too loud. In the whirling. About some theories I had. Whatever it is, I'm done with it. I won't do it again. If there's anything I can do to assist you, or the union, just ask, okay? I'll try to help if I can.
This scared him proper. He's positively melting from fear. Has to prop himself up with a lot of anger to keep it together.
The weather vane has turned. He cannot be unturned.
He clearly liked his squirming. He may even have changed his mind about the whole door opening operation.
Блин. Так, у нас тут что-то...
One more door.
Еще одна дверь.
There is no way to open the supply depot door. Accept it. You cannot open all the doors. You have to integrate this into your character. Some doors will forever remain closed, even if every single other door will open at one time or another. Maybe to a key, or maybe to some sort of tool meant for opening doors. But this one will never accede to such commands. A realization crucial to personal growth. Crucial.
Нифига себе. Вот это разрабы молодцы, конечно. Одну единственную дверь оставили, которую меня открыть. Да, сумрак минус, психика, все белые проверки разблокированы. Ништяк. Я смогу это забыть потом. Проверьте ловушки, проверим. Асель. О, как интересно. А, не, подожди. Психика это у нас что? Подожди. Психика. Да, это все правильно. Фиолетово. Где? Полицейская волна, Джойс Мессия. Там внутренняя империя повешена. Томми еще раз можно подойти. Куна можно еще раз подойти. Сидхарте можно еще раз подойти. Рыбачки можно. Ну, что-то не показывает, что можно подойти. Угу. Подожди, человека. Проанализируйте самообладание Гэри, чтобы понять, не скрывает ли он что-то еще. Ага. Так, а что там у нас, подожди, надо? Самообладание. Секундочку. Так. Это не поможет. Очки для эквилибристики. Так, шляпу можно какую-то закинуть. Давай логику закинем. Тут что? Скорость реакции, минус риторика. Минус внушение. Блин, то и другое надо как бы. Скорость реакции. Скорость реакции тоже тема прикольно. Ладно, погнали. Просто давно не сохранялся.
That shirt looks very uncomfortable on him. Look at the buttons, barely keeping that thing together, as if something is ready to rip out from underneath.
Это связной? А нет, связной женщина.
It sounds like he's wearing some kind of armor under his clothes. You can't tell it's there just from looking at him. Probably stolen from the corpse in the yard near where he lives.
I knew you'd figure it out, officer. I'm sorry I didn't tell you at once. I was...
Так ё-моё. Если ты знал, почему ты мне не сказал?
I was ashamed of what I did. And I didn't want you to know.
Так, под рубашкой поблескивает белоснежная эмаль. Худую грудь закрывает тонкое полотно из подвижных керамических пластин.
We're not detecting falsehood, sire. He's gearing up to admit the truth.
Gary, what's going on?
Later, Morale. I've got apologizing to do.
No, you've got explaining to do.
Тебе известно, кто убил повешенного? Это самый главный вопрос, конечно.
Everyone was picking those pieces off him, and I was watching them do it. And they'd scattered his clothes all over the yard. Everything was smelling. So I went there to take out the trash and started cleaning up. All those rags on the ground, him swinging up there, and I had a lapse of honor, sir. I thought, he's a foreigner. They all say he wasn't from here. Only the cuirass was left, so I stripped it off him. It was early in the morning. No one saw me. I took it with me. It was a mistake. Had I known it'd give you guys trouble, I wouldn't have... Fuck.
We're detecting sincere contrition here, sire. He's not trying to flatter anyone.
It's okay. It was a loose end, and you are tying it up now.
I'm so fucking sorry I called you Yellow Man. Sealite officers commanded the suzerain's navy. Most of them sided with the king when...
Пал на сторону короля, когда... Немедленно отдай броню.
Because I was weak. I should have told you the moment I saw you. But...
The hell, Gary? You in trouble?
I'll explain later.
He sighs again, hangs his head, and unbuttons his shirt fully. A cuirass that matches the dead man's boots comes into view. Soon it is in your hands, smelling of his sweat.
Наверняка здесь есть эта ачивка собрать всю броню. И можешь кому-то морду разбить или что, или в перестрелку вступить.
But so light to hold, like a bag of cotton. This is it. This will protect your mortal shell. Don it and live.
I always thought it was the Union, but I sure as hell won't go around saying that anymore. You have my word. I don't know, and I won't be running my mouth on this subject anymore.
This is all he knows.
Не, это все, что он знает.
Yes, absolutely. I will never do anything like this again. I won't mess with Mr. Clare either. You have my word. I'm sorry for what I said.
Окей, спасибо за содействие.
Yes?
Не, Кицураги ничего не хочет говорить. Эти тяжелые блоки военных заграждений исчерчены чем-то там. Тут я пройти не могу. На воде колышется буй. Указан номер 11. Где я не вижу. Это все конец карты? Нет, это все конец карты, да. Подожди, а где колесо обозрения? Это все. Вот ловушка.
There's a trap in the reeds at your feet. Looks like the same one you saw Morel set before. Same mesh, same wiring. Behind you, the ruins of a residential building loom over the reeds. They whisper amongst themselves. Confidentially, snowflakes cling to their shivering stems. When this district was booming, the reeds were kept at bay. Nothing obscured the freshly painted facades. Nowhere for drunks and adventurous teenagers to hide. Now only the wind blows. Locusts are crawling around in the trap, confused but uneaten. You see no carnivorous reed phasmid gorging on them.
Big surprise. Anyway, 1 down, 3 to go. I meant no offense, just...
Ее можно будет еще раз
Nothing has
проверить.
changed about this trap. You need to check the others.
Окей, а где они? Я что-то там... Так, во-первых, броник хочу глянуть. Вот она. Сила воли, эмпатия минус, болевой порог плюс. Ну что ж, прикольно. Эти керасы из стекловидной эмали сидит как влитая. и распределяет кинетическую энергию с помощью своих бесчисленных белых пластин, что самое удивительное, ее можно носить под плащом. Кроме того, если ее потрясти, она издает мелодичный фарфоровый звон. Проверить ловушку на краю земли, далеко на северо-восток от здания Фельд. Блин, что за Фельд здание? Проверить ловушку, которую Моррелл недавно установил в лагере криптозоологов. Проверить ловушку рядом с каналом. Это самое последнее. Что за здание Фельд, ё-моё? Так, 2 очка прям получили. Это очень круто. Я думал, вот здесь где-то. Ну ладно, это вот одно. Ну, мы уже глянули. Тут ничего нового, да?
A row of ghostly shades facing a crumbling wall, with another 7 shades standing 10 meters. A cold.
Нам тут не пройти, да, нам тут не пройти. Далеко на северо-востоке или где, подожди? А, вот это, вот, как только я начал их собирать. Вот, появилось.
This is the trap. The reeds by the abandoned campsite sway and tremble, while the snow falls all around. The later it gets, the colder. Remnants of the camp can still be seen in the sand. The fire. This trap is also full of panicked locusts. No sign of any cryptozoological beast inside.
Another empty trap.
Делаю запись в блокноте.
Always up for a good jog. Otherwise, would I still be on this case with you?
Мы теперь напарники. А, тут никуда не пройти. О, подожди, тихо. Разнести костер самого океана практически невозможно. Так, батя, ты бы, блин, ребенка-то отвел домой. Я тебя нахрен оштрафую. Где-то здесь на севере. Да, 20% эти, конечно, добавляли. Ну, а, вот здесь радиовышка, он говорил. Блин, эта дверь реально не подается?
An old door worn by.
Блин, очень жаль, что сказать. Вот она.
This trap's not too hot. The reeds sway in the coastal breeze. They seem to be waiting for something. The wind picks up here, near the cape's end, surrounding the narrow strip of land from 3 cardinal directions. It's cold for this time of year. Nothing but locusts in this trap as well. Definitely no cryptozoological monstrosity.
Empty as all of them. One more of these and we are done.
Устал? Я не верю, не, блин, если я нажму «я не верю», наверное, он и не появится.
No, I'm fine. I didn't mean to complain, it's just...
Надеюсь, здесь нет никаких переходов, блин. Так, прошу прощения, будильник у меня работает. Специальный административный район Левашова. Блин, как я в тот раз быстро переместился? Ну ладно. Только в одну сторону работает, видать.
of humanism stands above you, a precious and complex wax painting on a single pane of glass. A crack runs across the length of her body. Her fate, a jigsaw of broken shards, falls into place in front of you, a ghostly reconstruction of the stained glass window. Before it was shattered, there was an older woman beneath the younger one, and a text, a leitmotif below them both.
Leitmotiv.
Unknown. A motor carriage, a gunshot, someone falling into it, or maybe just hooligans looking for something to break. The escutcheon on her throne says, Irene the Navigator. She is depicted as an older woman wearing thick-rimmed eyeglasses, holding a golden Reichsapfel in one hand and a scepter in the other. This is the queen her innocence day advised. Above, she herself is whole. Small figures of wise men, common men, worshippers walk up the stairs to stand at her feet. Secret servicemen, 30 years, stand in a row guarding her. It must have taken years to produce this work in all its dizzying detail. Below both women, in luminous black letters, Après la vie, mort. Après la mort, la vie de nouveau. And then along the left side, Après le monde, la gré. Après le gré, le monde de nouveau.
La vie de nouveau, le monde de nouveau.
After life, death. After death, life again. After the world, the pale. After the pale, the world again. This is the great leitmotif of humanism, a summary of the effect of the discovery of this isola, the Insulindian, on human thinking, a tremendous sea change akin to finding life after death.
Death, life again. After the world, the pale. After the pale, the world again. This exaltation is common in Dolorian sacralism. In the early years, it was even incorporated as the RCM slogan. No more, however. It was deemed subservient to use a strongly moral intern-related motto. We already suspected of bootlicking. The sentence was also seen as too feminine. It was a macho thing. Justice, union, prudence, and force. Not at all.
The mother of humanism towers above you, a wax painting on a cracked pane of glass. Nothing has changed in her expression.
Hello again. I did, and I'm sorry. For what it's worth, which isn't much.
This is why I didn't go into the tent. Typical delinquency.
You don't get to choose your posse, they choose you. Mine are idiots, but they're mine. I tried to talk Andre out of it. I know. I should have been able to control them, and I will in the future. I promise. May I ask, what did you tell them? Thank you. I'll get them under wraps, I promise.
Музон опять заиграл. Че, приоденемся к эмпатии. О, музон, слышишь. Да, зайдем к ним в кабинку.
Hello again.
И, собственно, крутанем. Ну, какие шансы? А, заблокировано, блин. Так, блин. Шо? Все белые проверки разблокированы на психику. Эмпатия — это психика. Что, блин? Еще одна дверь. Я не понял, что я терплю, собственно? Все белые проверки разблокированы. Все белые проверки разблокированы. Как это работает? Может, они теперь не блокируются? Что это значит? Так, а с этим я закончил, я так понимаю.
Good morning! Yeah! Pump it up! Pump it up! Pump it up! There's nothing wrong with it. I'm still in love with the hardcore. Sometimes I just feel like anodic music is in its infancy, you know? For example, take this Arno van Eyck jam I've been pumping for the last month, and will continue pumping for the rest of 51. Isn't something holding it back from being hyper? It's like it's only ultra. I think it's super hardcore, but you're right, it's not hyper hardcore.
If anything, it sounds a bit proto, like it's not fully formed yet. You might be a moribund alcoholic and a failed cop, but you are pretty certain a thing cannot be both proto and hardcore.
Wow! Culture cop! I think you might be right, but how could it become hardcore then? I know it in my heart, but cannot think it in my head. If this is not hardcore, how could anything be? No! This is the answer! Uh-huh. Oh. Uh-huh. Oh. What? Guys, there's something happening in his head.
As your mind works, the beat recedes from your ears. You hear your own blood pulsing through your head, nourishing your thoughts with oxygen. The rhythm is familiar. The abstract shapes swelling in the foreground have done so in vain. This is a core matter. The answer in the double kick that moves the milliliters through your mind. The dark thud is the source of all rhythm, the inspiration behind mathematics. The hardcore.
Oh yeah! He's doing it!
But you're not. This is almost certainly a matter that surpasses the limits of reason.
I know! So does mine!
But there's something else that hasn't failed you.
Наркотики.
Yeah!
Грубая сила. Электрохимия.
No, that would be silly. Your body isn't for thinking. It's for robust, wholesome things. Things like discus, javelin, and 400-meter hurdles. Discus.
Так, как я про... Ну да ладно.
No nation, but transnation! No war, but class war! Yeah!
И с этим, да, мы еще? Ну ладно.
Hi again. Goodbye, officer.
Блин, здесь мужики, с мужиками не пообщался. Вот это вообще впрягня, да? О, мужики. Здорово. Подожди, может они так рано не заседают?
Good to see you, friend. Do I have deals set up for you, buddy boy? So what do you want? I got smokes. They're cheap. Very cheap. I got Pilsner. Great deal. You won't get a better deal on that piss. Spirits I can let go for 300 real. I also have speed. And by speed, I mean amphetamine.
Заблокировано. Голубой медицинский спирт 300. Пачка сигарет. Алкоголь. Бутылка с амфетаминами. Моторика, психика плюс. А так была бы только моторика. Мне мысль там что-то добавляет. Ну это спиды, короче. Мне пора.
See, friend, it's real valuable. Worth every real, if you catch my drift. Got it from a bit of a business venture. Right, right. As I said, that'll be 300 real. Finally came to your senses, buddy boy. Ain't nobody else gonna give you a price like that. Had to let life squeeze you to get that, huh? Sure, friend. A bottle of high-quality spirits coming right up. That'll be 3 real, and you're practically robbing me at this price. Just make sure to enjoy that one, friend.
То вдруг эта акция закончится.
Son, you will not kill yourself with this. Not today. So we're going to store this as a sellable item. Go sell it at the pawn shop for a profit.
Hi. By amphetamine, I mean speed. Sure did, buddy boy. That's why I said amphetamine. I mean speed. I mean amphetamine. I got both. Aye, that's what I said. Good, my man. Now what can I offer you? Oh, the system's been good to old Rosemary here, and I'm milking her like a bitch goat in the backyard. You see, friend, man makes his own luck, and I made mine real good. Got my hands on 3 bottles of liquor exquise, sold 2 to the fellows around here, and immediately invested the profit. Bought cigarettes, bought beer, even bought a bit of speed. And look at me now. I've got everyone on my hook.
The hook? Where is it? I can't see it.
Of course. It is what it is, you know. What it's always been. People, buddy boy. It's the people. In the civilized...
Hey, tequila!
Мужчина за 30 одетый в спортивный костюм из ликры. Ставит на стол свое пиво и протягивает тебе руку.
Good to see you. How's business? How's the whole reality situation treating you?
Блин, давайте не будем пожимать.
So what's happening? Yeah, Tequila Sunset. How are the, high-concept, reality-based adventures proceeding?
Говорят, что я коп потихоньку привыкаю.
It's good to hear that you're on top of things. Talking about used to, did you know that I used to be a real mover and shaker? Sadly, things aren't going that well in Idiot Doom Spiral Land. Haven't found those keys yet, haven't won that great piece of ass back. No word from my business buddies. We are saving the world.
Please! Please don't go! Don't go!
Okay, we're drinking. We're drinking alcohol. That's what we're doing. I tried to save the world once, a long time ago, with enterprise, creativity, and willpower. But that didn't work out. So now, it's a pirate's life for me. It's you. You're Tequila Sunset. We've met before. Don't you remember?
No, you sure don't.
Aha. Do you want to know how Tequila Sunset came to be?
Страшно.
Let me take a sip to moisten up my chords. Tequila Sunset rolled into Martinez last Friday, and by Tequila Sunset, I mean you. The man, the myth. Hey, let's not jump ahead of ourselves. This is your story. Stop interrupting. You got here on Friday to solve a case, hoping to be the early bird who gets the worm. And by the worm, I mean the buzz. Because as far as I know, all you did was get piss drunk. Word on the street is you went around the local hostel telling people that you're a police officer, and that it would be really fucked up if you shot yourself in the head right in front of them. That's pretty high concept, if you ask me.
Oh yeah, that's totally your style. The lieutenant's brow is furrowed. He's listening as casually as he can.
Hey man, I'm not judging. This life's a valley of woes. Some of the highest concept people in history have killed themselves. And been drunks. Either way, It was a late Saturday night when we, the Union of Moribund Alcoholics, got our drink on. Nothing remarkable about this. We get our drink on 24/7. Makes everything warm and glowy. I trust you know the feeling. One moment we hear the sound of a motor carriage revving up somewhere on the plaza, followed by a series of dings and bangs.
Do you remember the sound of wood cracking? The billboard?
Naturally, loud noises pique the interest of anybody owning a pair of ears. That's just the reality we're in. Anyway, there was a brief silence, a gasp of silence, if you will, followed by a real commotion. We heard the carriage careening towards the coast at top speed. Sounded like someone jumped the canal. We grabbed our brewskis and rushed to the jetty. Never underestimate the speed of an alcoholic. What we saw was a sight to behold. A beat-up police carriage containing you. Right there on the beach, you revved the engine and screamed at the top of your lungs, "The time hath come!" So, naturally, being the curious cat I am, I asked what time hath come, to which you replied, "The time hath come for tequila sunset, the end of all things!" After which, your reality contracted. You jammed the pedal, plowed right off the jetty, and through the ice.
Your hands cramp on the steering levers.
We ran towards the ice whilst you crawled your way out, miraculously unhurt, covered in seaweed and shit, like some kind of sea monster. When we finally got there, you were sitting on the beach crying. You said that your badge and uniform were in the car. It was too late to get in there, though. The carriage had sunk too deep. Recognizing a brother in need, we offered our condolences and invited you to party with us, which you naturally agreed to.
What else was there to do? Thank you, brothers, for your helping hand.
Электрохимия.
We asked about the whole tequila sunset thing, and you told us it was your name now and insisted that we all call you that from then on.
О, ему руку не пожал, мы знакомые. Ё-моё.
Yeah, I agree. Hours. It was an all-night drink-a-thon. Then, at some point, I think it was Sunday morning, you got belligerent and wanted to talk about Revacholian women. How they're beautiful and also whores and so on. How one of them fucked you real bad. After a short while, you crossed the event horizon, looked sullen, got up, and left without saying anything.
Так, вскоре ты пересек горизонт событий, помрачнел, встал и ушел.
Wow, that's quite a story.
Yeah, I bet Tequila's a fucking legend around the precinct. You must be proud to work with him.
If you only knew.
А, про особо можно поспрашивать. Ну, блин, таблетки есть, если что. Поехали.
You were pretty vague about it, but you kept saying you got fucked real hard, and that we've all been fucked too.
No one's fucked me. I do the fucking around here. Abigail.
Абигейл, это такой же, да, чел?
It seemed pretty painful, to be honest with you. If I had to guess, I'd say you're still working through some shit. Beside your gun and your badge, you said something about your hope or heart or something. To be honest, the details are a little hazy. In retrospect, I guess you lost your motor carriage too? That's a big one. You told us that they were a bunch of fucking losers whose main interest was cramping your style.
It's more like you were cramping theirs.
Ой, да ладно, эмпатия, что-то не на моей стороне. Моя эмпатия.
No specifics, though. It was more about you that night. You were the star of the show. Yeah, you said it was no biggie and that you'd solve it in no time. And that you didn't need anyone to do it. You're doing it solo now.
A lot of cops go solo and hermit once they reach that level of alcoholism.
It's not meant as a joke. He's sorry for the hermit cop.
Yeah, you said that it was okay that you crashed your carriage because the spectral hand of the market was guiding you. This was before you started talking about how the pinkies were always trying to fuck you.
Мизинцы. Пинки.
You kept apologizing for being such a bad cop and for the damage you've inflicted on everyone around you.
Oh, I'm sorry, sorry, cop.
You also kept pausing to knock the heel of your hand against your temples, saying, "Stupid, stupid, stupid." It's a hard thing for a man to confront his past. That's why I avoid mine at all costs. Whoop-de-doo. So now I'm a fucking storyteller. Right. Why not? Better than a beach bum. It depends, really. Are you willing to help me out?
The gleam in his eyes and the slouch in his posture is so incredibly familiar. You might get scammed here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want it, man. I need it. Can't tell stories without it. Dry stories are boring, see? So, have you got anything for good old idiot Doom Spiral? A bottle for a story. Seems fair to me.
Собрать голубой медицинский спирт. Он может умереть от него. Особый забастовочный напиток по рецепту профсоюза. Это что ли, борщ? Красный командор сладкое. Вот у меня есть пилзнер крепкая. Ничего не делает. Блин, давай пилзнер.
Not much, but it will do.
Hey, Spiral Boy, you gonna share that?
Don't call Abigail!
Shut up, guys. I'm telling a story here. Something happened to you. Something happened to me, too. My actual name is George, but around here, you already know. I was once a reasonably high net worth individual, a founder / junior partner at a high concept creative services agency. When my story begins, I had just landed a major contract with an insurance firm. I used the profits from my agency to finance what I called a cultural incubator. Abstract value generation, value per person, high concept stuff. I developed the paradigm, worked within the paradigm, but the burden of leadership weighed heavily on me. So I went jogging every so often to keep myself sane. 22 full-time employees, an all-star team, a potentially historical set of individuals. Worrying about them often kept me up well into the morning hours. It did. With my trusty Sansarique tracksuit, I felt like I could conquer the world.
Это вот в этом костюме, с этими ботинками, как у меня.
But now dreams are worn thin, much like my tracksuit. One day I left on my evening run. As you may know, it's impossible to clear your head when you're distracted by the sound of keys jangling in your pockets.
His eyes are clouded, his dilated blood vessels encircling his irises like stinging brambles. His eyes are your eyes.
Его глаза твои глаза.
So I removed the key ring and put the keys for the front gate and the apartment into different pockets to stop the jangling, you see? At least, that was the plan. I was halfway done with my usual lap when it started to rain. The reality situation became very wet, very quickly. Wet, okay? It was raining really hard. I made my way back home and discovered that I didn't have the key to the front gate. I'd mixed it up with the key to the letterbox, which was useless. Naturally, the situation required me to climb over the gate, which I did. There was no climbing down because I slipped and landed on my ass. Ouch, indeed. Reality was looking rather grim just then. Me lying on my ass in a mud pit in the middle of a heavy shower. But when life knocked me down, I always got up. So I made my way across the yard. Standing in front of my apartment door, fumbling with my pockets, I realized that I'd also forgotten my apartment key. I wish I were, Tequila. I wish I were. Instead of my apartment key, I'd taken the key to the office. I rang my neighbors' buzzers. It was late, and most of them didn't even answer. Those who did assumed I was trying to sell them something and hung up before I could even explain the situation. People are naturally wary of ad men, you see. One moment someone chats you up, 5 minutes later you've bought a box of edible lingerie and a strap-on. I don't begrudge them, especially since I was known to be one of the best.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown.
Just then, I experienced a moment of clarity. I still had the key to my office. I could wait out the storm there. But when I reached my office, I remembered that I'd asked one of my producers to change the locks that day. And since I hired only the best, he'd already done it, and I couldn't get in. Anyway, long story short, life spiraled out of control. I haven't gotten into my apartment for years, and my girlfriend left me because she didn't want to date a homeless man. The company, well, you see where I'm going with this.
Ну, это какой-то бред.
So, now you've heard my tragic tale. What do you think? Like nothing you've ever heard, huh? Tequila, I've thought about this series of events for a long time. If there was anything else to it, I would have thought of it by now.
Why didn't you go to the authorities?
Вот именно.
Well, at one point they came to me, but, you know, I didn't have any ID on me, so they tossed me in jail for 2 days. I can't say it increased my faith in the RCM. No offense, gentlemen. Me neither, Tequila. When I lost my keys, I lost more than access to my apartment. I also lost my leverage over humanity. I wasn't a high-concept creative director anymore. I was just some homeless asshole with a premium Sansorique Lycra tracksuit. You can't imagine what that does to a man's confidence. Anyway, that was all the story one bottle gets you. Almost empty, this one.
Еще раз послушать историю.
Good fucking question, Tequila. If I knew the answer, you think I'd be hanging out on a beach in this formerly premium but now extremely dirty two-piece lycra tracksuit? I used to own my reality situation. My business buddies and I had our own creative services agency. I had a nice apartment, an even nicer piece of ass. But somehow it all got away from me. Now I can't hang on to anything. Just last week I stole this nice new jacket, but then I lost it too. The only things I haven't lost are these two drunks.
You of all people should empathize with this. Perhaps this lost jacket is something you could help with?
О, я могу найти эту куртку.
My agency, man. The Boom Boom Room. Our concept was combining high art with the lowest forms of marketing. The color red, breasts, and oil painting. I convinced my partners to reinvest some of our profits in an even more high-concept cultural incubator called Thin Air. The artists were happy, the clients were happy. I was financing a group of poets in East Revachol who were developing a new universal poetic language. But then it all went to shit.
Sounds intriguing. What say you, Art Cop?
Art Cop.
If it sounds like it makes no sense, that's because it doesn't.
Well, you know, sex sells. That's the first rule of advertising.
Ну, это да.
Maybe you're right. Who knows? Maybe we were behind the curve? We were What? You've never seen 100% lycra before? Go on, feel that primo material. Pretty nice, huh? This might be one of the last of its kind. Should probably be in a museum, honestly.
Good God. It's nearly impossible to describe how dirty this texture is. It's like rubbing two jellyfish skins together. You feel about 15% less human for having touched it. Randomized trials have also found lycra, TM, to be associated with a number of exotic, highly malignant cancers, so you also have that to look forward to. And then there's the smell, but you don't even want to think about that.
Wow, you're lucky. He never lets me feel it.
That's because your paws are fucking filthy, Rosie. We're right next to the bay. You could wash them any time. My fellow members of the Union of Moribund Alcoholics? They're exactly what they look like.
Hey, Tequila! You want to buy some speed?
Shut the fuck up, Rosemary. He's a cop, remember?
I thought he was a cool cop.
Don't call Abigail.
And this is Abs. So yeah, that's basically us. We drink together. Tequila, it's a verifiable tragedy. It was practically brand new. Sure, it didn't really go with my lycra threads, but it did itch a lot less.
Почти не кололось.
Say, you're a detective, right? Maybe you can help old Doom Spiral out. Solve the case of the missing jacket. What do you say, Tequila? Holy shit. Tequila, how did you... Never mind, I don't care. Just let me see the jacket.
Я нашел даже больше, чем искал, то на чем.
What's that supposed to mean?
Рядом обнаружился труп.
What's that got to do with my jacket? What do I care about some local stiff? You gonna give me the jacket or no? Let me see. What? This isn't my jacket. My jacket was beautiful. This is fucking filthy. What am I supposed to do with this? I'm not taking a disgusting pile of hobo rags. I may be in an irrecoverably decaying orbit, but I've still got standards. Either bring it back the way it was before, or find a dumpster to burn it in.
You know, despite the guano, it looks like the jacket itself is stain resistant. It may just need a good scrubbing.
I do. But as you can see, my fuel tank is running quite low. If you catch my drift. Then I can't keep on telling the stories.
Все веселье в прошлый раз, меня выпивка, из тебя история.
You too, Tequila Sunset.
Так, что-то там готовенько.
Fairweather T500. Remember that weakness you were looking for in the ceramic armor? Like, maybe it can only stop small, fast projectiles, but a large, slow-moving pry bar would shatter it? Or, if I run an electrical current through it, maybe it will melt. Or, personal favorite, frequency something something radio weapon? None of that would work. You need to shoot the part of the enemy that doesn't have Fairweather T500 on it, because the armor itself is invulnerable. Good news is, so are the armor pieces on you.
Координации против врагов в броне. Рановато, наверное, все-таки надел. Лимит улучшения всех навыков повышать до 3. Ну это круто, конечно, потому что у меня есть навыки где 2. Вот они-то мне и нужны. Но с другой стороны, я почти не вкладываю очки именно сюда. Я все в мысли вкладываю. Так, есть спиртяга. Есть куртка, где она там?
As you hold it in your hands, it makes an uncomfortable crunching sound. It's a sordid, filthy tale. Not for the weak. Are you sure you can stomach it? It occurs to you that you're not even holding the jacket itself, but rather the thick crust of jetsam and seagull shit that ensconces it. It smells like a dead sea creature, tangled in grey strands of seaweed. It must have spent quite some time in the water before the tide deposited it ashore. Why? Why did you think about it? Look at your hands. They're covered in muck. Now you're just flicking that shit everywhere. This is a disaster. You'll never get the smell out.
И все.
As you hold it in your hands, it makes an uncomfortable crunching sound. There is no why.
Все, не получилось.
As you hold it in your hands, it makes an uncomfortable crunching sound. It's probably better that way.
Ну ладно, может...
Tequila Sunset.
Блин, с этим. Ярко-красный нос, он прищуривается, как будто узнавает тебя, а потом отворачивается.
The noxious odor emanating from the drunken man is strong and familiar.
Don't you call her? Yeah! Don't call Abigail! Uh-huh. Abigail. Don't you fucking call Abigail.
Never thought you'd see such a thing in your life. But this guy's a little too drunk.
Don't call Abigail.
Блин, может это девчонка, которая на этом... где же она там сидит-то? Ну, соседка моя по трепью. Так, а с этой что тут? Я все побережье оббежал. А ради тебя.
Waves are beginning to die down. Look at those little bastards.
А, вот, да, я
Simmer down.
все побережье
Simmer down,
оббежал.
bastards.
-1 из-за присутствия Кима. Рискованно 15, у меня внушение 0. Мне надо выбить 16. Офигеть. Вот она, ловушечка.
It takes you a moment, but finally you spot the last of Morel's traps. This one's partially obscured by the reeds. The reeds bend forlornly toward the sand. You see slabs of concrete north. In the east, the city center hums to you. The constant, distant song, louder on this part of the coast, nearer somehow. And there's that cold again. Always the cold. The trap feels light and silent as you pick it up. Something is different here. No locust. No phasmid either, but still. Your voice echoes on the coast, carried by a gust of cold wind.
Well, the bait worked on something. This doesn't mean it was a reed monster, though. Unless you see one in there. I just see an empty trap.
The netting is a little untidy, messier than the others, like someone or something picked up the trap and shook it before dropping it back down on the ground.
Perhaps our cryptozoologists have competition in the form of an actual entomologist, or someone else is sabotaging them. I could present more theories, but then I would be taking this on as a case, which I'm not. Right. Anyway, that's for the cryptozoologists to figure out now. We're not cryptozoologists, we're cops.
Окей. Бетонное укрепление, простоявшее не один десяток лет. Теперь там играют дети. Подожди, а тут ничего не появилось? А, тут вообще, да, никуда дальше не пройти. Окей. Так, ну хотя, знаете что, мы с вами дообследовали вторую часть побережья, окончательно уже. То есть вот эту часть мы полностью зачистили. Не хватает только вот сюда, мы, наверное, уже никогда не попадем. Не было вот этого колеса. Ну, в принципе, мы все посмотрели. На этом сейчас закончим и встретимся, собственно, в следующей серии. Уже будем думать, куда дальше двигаться и расти. Спасибо, что посмотрели. Прожмите лайки. Поддержите прохождение. Напишите, как вам вообще. Как вам прохождение? Какие у вас вообще мысли? Кто убийца? Как бы быстрее открыть, раскрыть это преступление? Ну и всем хорошего настроения. Скоро увидимся. Пока.